we got to talk about the first line of Fourth Wing. First of all, this is me annotating, and I fear that I'm annotating too close to the sun. I simply have created a monster. Okay, that aside, I am obsessed with the way Fourth Wing starts, and I know there's been a lot of controversy over it, or I guess feelings of sadness, because people believe that it means Violet and Xaden don't make it, which I do not believe that at all. So let's read it together and discuss. The following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarrian into the modern language by Jesinia Nailwort, curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Basgiath War College. All events are true, and names have been preserved to honor the courage of those fallen. May their souls be commended to Melek. There's been some discussion about the recovered correspondence of it all, and people have talked about how that must mean Violet and Xaden are no longer alive. I could go either way on that. Maybe they aren't alive anymore. Maybe Jesinia outlives them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they don't survive the story that we're currently reading. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't live long, semi-healthy lives. It just means that at the time of Jesinia pulling this together, that was recovered correspondence. In addition to them potentially not being alive anymore, but that not mean that they don't have long fulfilled lives after the story that we're reading. It also could mean that they just live somewhere else. Maybe they don't live in Navarre anymore. Navarre doesn't exist anymore when Jesinia is writing this. I'll just say that. It doesn't exist. Basgiath College has somehow survived, but Navarre does not exist anymore. Whatever happens at the end of this series, it completely changes the landscape of the story and the land that we are reading as it is in this series. And we know this because it says it has been transcribed from Navarrian into the modern language. That means that the language, Navarrian, however you want to say it, that Violet and Xaden are speaking is no longer the language that is commonly spoken, and there is now the modern language. Now, this could mean anything. We see mentions of other languages that are currently spoken in the other lands, so this could mean that the Griffin Riders take over. This could mean that the Venom take over. This could mean that some entity that we haven't encountered yet in Fourth Wing or Iron Flame has taken over. We don't know what the modern language is, and that's because Rebecca doesn't tell us on purpose. We do know, and I'm sure this has been discussed many times, but we do know that a lot of time has passed, or a significant amount of time has passed, because Jesinia is in a new role. She has taken whatever length of time it would take to accumulate all of these books, which in Rebecca Yarros' years is not that many so far, but to do the due diligence, which we assume that Jesinia is doing, to pull together all of this information and publish it as it is, it seems that it would have taken a significant amount of time. Unless she's lying, and she could be. She could be making all of this stuff up. This could all be propaganda, but does it read like propaganda? Not necessarily. I don't think it reads like propaganda, but who knows? The thing we do know is that despite the fact that Navarrian is no longer the most commonly spoken language, and we now have the vague modern language, Basgiath War College has somehow survived because Jesinia works there. Whatever has happened has been a dramatic enough change to completely alter the language that has spoken. We likely have an overthrown government in connection with this change, but we still have Basgiath War College. We don't know. We're not sure. Rebecca knows. She's not gonna tell us. Maybe the Venom completely take over and win, and no one speaks any of their languages anymore because they speak whatever weird, creepy language I can only imagine that the Venom speak. Which, you know, they're turned from Navarrian, so it probably would have been Navarrian, so it feels like it's an indicator that the Venom don't win, but maybe they have their own weird little language back in Venonland. We don't know what's happening in the Baron. I personally don't think all is lost, but I do think it is quite fascinating to dwell on what does that little note about the modern language versus Navarrian mean. Okay, that's all I've got for now. I'm sure I'll have a million things later. What do you think? Let me know. I'm so curious. Okay, bye!